The dog is rolling, rawhide, rawhide, rain, wind, and weather.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Webbing the Surf, brought to you by Customer Bloom and from the brand new Vallarta CoWork. Today I'm pumped to have my partner in Vallarta CoWork, Miguel Guerrero. Miguel. Sorry, that's our microphone.
All right.
Does anybody call you Michael or does everyone call you Miguel?
You're the only one. You're the only bastard that calls me Miguel, and that I know of. Yeah, a lot of people call me Miguel, and Miguel's a little hard to remember.
I've
though.
only known you as Miguel.
Yeah, and so there's a few, but I get on the phone all the time and talk to Americans and on the phone. And, like Miguel's a little strange, so I use Michael a lot too.
So, fun fact: Miguel, Michael, and his brother Alex were members of Vallarta CoWork, and when we first met, we got to talking, and it turns out we're from the exact same town.
That's right.
Pretty much.
And Chase and I were born in the same hospital.
But you went to East and I went to West, right?
Yeah, arch rivals, really, actually. Yeah.
He went to the...
Yeah, that explains how we get along right now.
Yeah, exactly. But so, I don't really know much of your history. You're from my hometown, but you weren't there for very long, right? Did you finish high school at East?
Oh yeah, I was like, get me out of here. So finished East, and I was like, let me think. Where can I go that's the opposite of Central Bucks County?
I'm like, Central Bucks, Doylestown is the greatest place on earth, and he's like, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Who would want to live here?
Yeah, so I chose, of course, downtown Manhattan, and I went to
The big city.
Yeah, for 1 year I thought, I'm going to be a New Yorker. I'm going to be, big and tough and like, just like drink nails for breakfast. But then I was like, didn't quite fit in at New York University. I had a roommate that said to me, you know what? You belong in Portland, Oregon. You should check out this school I was going to go to, but I think you really belong there. So that sent me on a pathway out to the West Coast, out to sort of the crunchy granola land, and I haven't been back ever since.
And what did you do until you became geographically liberated, as I like to say?
A number of things. I was never really tied to any particular geography. I had a stint in international development and sustainable agriculture for
You have an MBA, right?
a good decade before I went back to school and did an MBA as well. So I worked I did Peace Corps service right out of college, and that sent me to learn Spanish in Honduras and try to teach like farmers who've been growing up on the land their whole life how to farm better. It was kind of a ridiculous premise, but I had fun. I learned some Spanish, and then we went back and then I worked basically as a policy wonk for a nonprofit in Eugene, Oregon for 7 years at crunching numbers and looking at fertilizer formulas. And then I went back to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then take us up to the point where you end up in Mexico.
So conversion of forces as the world sometimes opens up and you're staring into the great abyss and wondering what the fuck is going on in your life. And relationship ends, a crappy job evaporates over a pitcher of beer with my boss, and all in the same 4-week period. And my brother's like, well, you can come work for me. I don't know what you're going to do, but you can come work for me. I can't really pay you anything. You'd have to kind of live in Mexico. So good thing happens. He's finally figured out his SEO after 7 years of tweaking his website, and we have barely enough revenue to feed us both some tacos in Mexico.
Why don't you pitch your business real quick?
Sure. So I operate a sub-brand that is working exclusively for American families to figure out the best way to identify long-term care benefits for families, especially who need care.
Elder care, right?
At home, yeah, elder care, generally over 65, but if you're disabled as well. So it's a mess out there. American benefits are confusing, punitive, and just overlapping. So it helps to have a guide. I provide that guide, and by doing so, saving families a lot of money.
I need to get your brother on the show. He started the business, Alex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it a really interesting dynamic because Alex is all SEO, like
All SEO.
and Alex and you are so funny because we're from the same town, but we're so polar opposites. He's like, okay, when I had this conversation with him, when I'm starting this business, the rules are it has to be not sexy in any way. It has to be like something nobody wants to do. It has to be all these like things, which are totally opposite of when I'm starting a business. It's like all marketing, like it's got to sizzle, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. He's like, no, I want like the hardest, most straightforward thing, and it's all SEO. And then now you have come in and taken on another kind of segment of that business, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've hit it in pretty well to a T what he was about and what he continues to be about. He's a back-end guy. His principal strategy is focus and perseverance, and it's finally paid off. He's a researcher. He provides 100,000 people a month with excellent free information that's straight to the point about how to get the benefits. And I provide a service that's built on top of that is specially designed for families to kind of customize them, walk them through how to get the benefits.
So as far as people watching the show, interested in the digital nomad lifestyle, want to be able to work or live wherever they want or travel frequently, do you feel like the skill set, you just were lucky to have the skill set that translated when the internet kind of came along and you're like, wait a minute, I can do this from anywhere? Or did you have to acquire any new skills to be able to work from Mexico or wherever you want to be?
I think it was a process of discovery of those same sort of skills in me. Not a whole lot of internet-y skills here. We're talking about
Sorry.
you're going to check your phone?
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna put it on.
Not a whole lot of internet, and when we're talking about social services from local governments and
Right.
stuff like that, it's just not high tech at all. And so it doesn't require, beyond operating a fax machine, how high tech or anything. What skills I realized I had all along, which was figuring out what things are really about by not being afraid of actually reading the text of whatever the governing text is, and then interpreting that and making it simple for people to understand, and explaining it to them on the phone. And when I don't have a cold, I can usually talk the whole day through and not have to cough.
And that's interesting for people to know. I mean, you are on the phone all the time, and I think people that especially come through the co-working spaces, they email me, hey, I need to be on the phone. Is it going to work there? Like, I know you have internet, but is it good enough for Skype? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, you're a good you're on the phone all day long here in Mexico, and you were in Europe working last year, right? Where'd you go?
Yeah. My dad happens to retire. He lives in a small village in southern France, and so it's like
nice.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty rural. It's Europe though, so the internet's decent, and the time zones are wacky. So you start working. I essentially started working when he went to bed. He goes to bed early because he's my dad. But it kind of sunk well. Worked the late afternoon and evening in Europe. But time zones, actually, I find it really beneficial to be here in Mexico because we're really smack there in the middle of the States. And since I'm serving the American market and I'm talking to Americans all the time, that helps a hell of a lot.
I think that's a perfect segue into a plug for Vallarta CoWork.
There.
Same time zone as most of the U.S., where literally you can see the water.
2.5 hour flight from LA to PVR, or Dallas, or Houston, or Miami,
Smack dab
Atlanta.
in between downtown and Old Town. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, right?
And if you really are brave, you can go out and swim in that river right there.
That's right. We've got hammocks on the balcony.
Dry off in the hammock after you swim.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so one thing that we always do on every show is give us the top 5 tools you use every day you couldn't do your job without.
Skype, email, spreadsheet.
Email, you're probably a...
That's 3, right? Website, and we're just installed a new customer relationship management system. So we're working with a cloud system. It's basically going to take our clunky, dispersed...
People might want to know.
Oh, Insightly, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm ready to vouch for it yet, but It seems to do what we want it to do, which is really organize projects around customers and allow us to really focus our work on them and then communicate really effectively with them at the same time.
You guys were using BaseCamp. Are you going to get rid of BaseCamp? Is the plan to get rid of that and use this for both, or?
Essentially, BaseCamp's not going to kick us off. They don't have a hard kick off, though. We can go down. We can back down to their free plan, and we've done that, and that keeps us. It keeps the historical memory there as far as long as we. I love BaseCamp. I think just to do a BaseCamp segue, those guys, 37 Signals, they really know all about remote and how to make remote teams work. Not just the solo guy, but the team thing.
They're kind of OGs, right? They've been doing it for forever, which is why I can't stand them, because they don't update their product visually.
On the contrary, I don't know if I agree with their UI, UX evolution over the last 5 years, but they really work a certain philosophy.
I got a lot of respect for those guys.
They're a minimalist
I'm
crew.
not a fan
They have principles.
That's why your brother loves them, I bet.
He doesn't use any tools like that. The fanciest thing he uses is like Outlook.
Excel.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show, Miguel. I'm super pumped that we brought this to fruition.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, this is it, man. Come on down. It is a short trip away, and you're going to love it. And the AC is always on. Well,
that's right.
During the working hours, at least. And then we get you out of here.
That's right. So if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe so you can follow along. If you're on Facebook, give us a like, give us a share. Drop some comments. What do you want to hear about? What do you think of the show so far? Is there things that we should add, things that we should drop? Definitely let us know. And don't forget to work the web so you can enjoy the surf, whatever your surf may be. See you later.